Clinical researchers have identified a specific physical mechanism that allows the human brain to rewire its own pain network, a process far removed from the swinging pocket watches of popular fiction. This practice carries a heavy cultural stigma. We often associate hypnosis with theatrical stage entertainment, where volunteers seemingly surrender their free will to a performer for the sake of a crowd. This theatrical reputation began in the 1700s with Franz Mesmer. He claimed that an invisible magnetic fluid governed human health, and that his hand-waving rituals could manipulate this animal magnetism to heal the sick. King Louis XVI commissioned a scientific committee to investigate these claims in 1784. They conducted the first-ever blind placebo trial, revealing that participants only experienced health improvements when they believed they were receiving Mesmer's treatment. By branding hypnosis as a mere product of the imagination, the 1784 ruling cast the practice into the realm of medical illegitimacy for the next 2 centuries. Despite that historical skepticism, major medical institutions like the Mayo Clinic now utilize clinical hypnotherapy as a standard tool for surgery preparation and chronic pain management. The data reveals a significant statistical anomaly in psychiatric care. In trials for major depression, group hypnotherapy is producing larger, more durable improvements in patient scores than standard cognitive behavioral therapy. Curious, this gap between historical dismissals and modern clinical success raises a specific question. Why is a supposed imaginary state yielding superior biological outcomes in our best hospitals? Stanford researchers used fMRI scans to observe the brain during hypnosis. They found a drop in dorsal anterior cingulate activity, blocking external distractions. Increased connectivity between the prefrontal cortex and insula regulates bodily sensations. Finally, disconnecting from the default mode network prevents self-conscious reflection. These 3 shifts identify the hypnotic trance as a distinct, measurable neurological state, a moment where the brain physically reconfigures its processing pathways. This neurological state is entirely voluntary. It cannot be forced on a subject, as it requires active consent and a lack of resistance to the process. Research shows a consistent split in the population. Roughly 10% of people are highly susceptible, 70 to 80% are moderately responsive, and about 10% appear immune to the state. Highly hypnotizable individuals typically share specific psychological traits, such as an intense capacity for absorption in activities like reading and a natural propensity for deep, focused attention. In this context, a hypnotist acts only as a guide for individuals whose brains already possess the structural capacity to enter this receptive state. Moving from laboratory scans to clinical outcomes, these neurological changes have significant implications for the reality of modern surgery. Patients in the highly susceptible group report significantly lower pain levels after medical procedures and require fewer opioid painkillers than those receiving standard care. In psychiatry, the results are equally measurable. This chart follows depression scores, where group hypnotherapy resulted in a steeper and more sustained recovery than traditional group CBT. There are clear boundaries to this practice. It cannot treat severe psychiatric conditions like schizophrenia, and it cannot be used to bypass a subject's personal moral code. Clinical hypnosis is simply the targeted use of our own biology to move past the brain's standard defense mechanisms. The theatrical props of stage hypnosis obscure a concrete biological event, the real-time physical reconfiguration of the human brain. True hypnosis is a tool for self-mastery, a scientifically validated mechanism that allows the mind to consciously utilize its own capacity to rewrite its perception of reality.